Today was the first day of the show. We met up at the Dolphin Centre, and Matty was talking to us and telling us what he expected of the day from us, that we are to all work as a team, to be professional at all times, as this is part of our assessment, and basically, to do our best, which is what you do on show days, obviously. I was set a task first thing this morning to go and get some face masks, which was fine, no problem, and to also get some dowling rod to act as a conductor's baton. I was given 10 minutes, that's the time limit, which I learned a big lesson today, which if it was a professional production, I wouldn't have been left back into the stage door. So what had happened was, I thought, right, I will try Painman first to see if they had any masks in there, and some drumsticks, because I thought they would look quite good as batons, but as it was, they didn't. So I went round to the art shop and purchased 16 masks and some dowling rod, which they cut for me, and then I came straight back out. But it took longer than 10 minutes. By this time, the rest of the performing arts had actually gone up to the venue, and they had stored all their bags at the front end of the hall, but they had moved down to the bottom end. We went through Becky G, and just to see if we made sure that we all knew what we were doing. We split into two groups. There's the easier dance and the more technical dance group. I was in the easier one. For me, I teach belly dancing, and I'm quite capable of doing the more technical side, but I don't feel confident to keep up with my peers. They're a lot younger than me and a lot more agile. So that is going to be my goal in future, to gain confidence to actually dance with them. And even though I was in easy group, I still messed up on things. I don't know whether it's because, one, I'm tired, or two, that it's a lot to remember. There's no excuses. I can't put my finger on it, what it actually is. Well, anyway, we got split up, and then Matty wasn't happy with the way some of the technical, the more advanced dances, it wasn't run smoothly. So we were sent out onto the landing to go through our piece. And Robin has been poorly for the last couple of days, so we've been dancing with 5 of us instead of 6. So she panicked a little bit, because we have individual group pieces, and while she's been away, I just put a basic 32 beat salsa together. It's 8 beats walking in, 16 beats dancing, and 8 beats walking back out. So she panicked a little bit, so I was going through that with her, and so she had a basic idea, which was fab, and she did very, very well. And then we went back into the main hall where we're doing the production, and we worked on it as a group. But where they've changed all the dance, it totally threw me. And again, this is where I need to concentrate more. Sometimes I'm so busy on looking on what I'm trying to do and where I am that I'm not taking in what other pieces are doing, other people are doing, and that's not good teamwork. So again, that's another thing to work forward to. Then after that we started with singing, warming up, vocals, because the technical team were going through technical rehearsals just to make sure that they get the last minute things done. And for the technical run, they needed to just work out what they needed to be cleaned up and worked on, ready for the dress run. And written was what we worked on with Hayley. She split. Well, we were actually in a very small corridor when we were doing it. And she had the sopranos and the altos. I tend to sing with the boys, which are more like a tenor level, which is quite comfortable for me. And I can project quite well at that pitch. So we were all moved around so that it sounded even. And the girls worked on their harmonies, which was good. Then we went on to have a technical run, which by this time, like I said, all their stuff was down the front. And with the technical run, we didn't actually do it as a dress rehearsal as such. Some people were in their onesies and others weren't. But I'd left George, my arm, in my bag down the front of the hall. So because I was late at the beginning, I didn't have a chance to pick him up. And when it came to doing it on the stage, obviously it wasn't all there. And it did stand out like a sore thumb because the props weren't ready. And that was the first thing that we should have had done, to make sure all the props are ready and we're ready to go on stage. Before we went on stage, I did notice one thing that I was going to have problems with. The room, when the lights are off, are very dark, and obviously losing my sight in the one eye. I'd accustomed to that, but we hadn't actually gone on the stage before this. This was the first time. And we were going through Matilda. Now, before we actually went up there, I did notify the technical, the DSMs and ASMs, that I was going to have a problem getting up and down the steps onto the stage when it's dark. And they come up with the numerous solutions to it, which were brilliant. But I think when we first started getting the show together, we were asked by the technical team if anybody had problems with flashing lights and stuff like that. But they hadn't actually taken into account anybody with any physical disabilities. I suppose they don't see me with my arm as a physical disability because they're used to me. But obviously with my sight, unless they know, which they didn't at the time, they're not going to ask. So it was something I flagged up for them, maybe next time to take into account. I'm not so brilliant going up and down the stairs. Well, anyway, the solution was that somebody would be on the sides of the stage, and as long as I put my hand on their shoulder, I could get up and down fairly quickly, which was fab. The other problem I did have was, like I said, when we were doing Matilda, we have to sing, and like I said, because it was first time on stage, I was trying to get my bearings so that I was familiarised with where I had to stand, and where the edge of the stage was, which for health and safety reasons I found was more important than actually miming the words. So when we had gone through that, Matty gave us some feedback, and obviously this is one thing he had picked up, that I don't know the words to Matilda, which is fair enough because he's actually, you know, a musical director. He's seen the show from sitting in front of us and watching what we're doing. So lesson learned, like I said, I mean it's just getting used to the way the stage is and how my physical presence, you know, spatial awareness for me, and adapting. But as soon as I sorted that out, I was fine. I knew where I was going, what I was doing, and then I could sing. So that wasn't too bad. And we moved on to dress rehearsal then, which went better than the first one. And we were told, one of the things we were told is to make sure that we smile on stage because we were looking miserable. Stage presence, to put our hands behind our backs when we're standing so we all look uniformed and tidy, and to project our voices when we're doing the monologues or when we're actually singing. But for me, I don't really have a problem with that because in my job I have to project my voice right down the full length of a swimming pool with music blaring, so I might shout a little bit too much. But anyway, I can carry my voice off quite well. That's my personal opinion. Again, dress rehearsal was fine. The difference is Leslie, one of the DSMs, she was watching us do the dress rehearsal, and I had my arm on when I was doing my monologue. And the monologue about thalidomide, she said it didn't make sense because I'd gone on stage without an arm, then I had an arm, then I was doing the dance and everything with everything on it. It just didn't flow. So that was very good practical feedback, so I could adapt it so that what I did when it came to the show later on, I actually stood, and when I was doing my monologue pieces, I did as Matty told us, stood with the hands behind the back, so nobody could see my arm until it was my turn to pull him off, pull George off. The dancing, when we actually came to the show, we were all ready by about 6:30, and we all made sure that everything was ready. Act 1 went fine. I enjoyed it. The adrenaline was pumping. I was quite relaxed, but it was good. Stomp, I was like a bass beat because the problem we did have in rehearsals was that some of the rest of the cast were going a bit too quick. So I set the pace with a gentle clap in between so they could see the pacing and keep it all in one level. People opposite me could see, and it was just a nod of the head if they were going a little bit too fast, just to bring them back in line so we were all unison. But yeah, it was good. That went well. Everybody did really well. The performance itself, when it was finished, it was amazing. We had some nice feedback from Tim saying that backstage that the performing arts group acted as well, just as good as a professional cast, if not better, and he was very proud of us, which that was nice to hear. We've had a new member of the group. She did 80% of the show today, which I was really impressed with for Glasser, because she'd only started 2 days before, and what she achieved was amazing. So I needed to mention her because she did fab. Anyway, tomorrow's another day, onwards and upwards.